I'm David Kippen, and this is the nonprofit Libros Schmibros lending library in Boyle Heights, which my wife and a bunch of friends helped me open a dozen years ago. It's dedicated to the very New Deal proposition that the arts, and especially the one I practice, writing, are for everybody who walks in the door. We put good free books into our neighbors' hands and do cultural programming, including a podcast, movie screenings, and high school enrichment fellowships over the summer. Of the thousands of books at Libros, maybe my favorite is this, the WPA Guide to Los Angeles. Like the equally great WPA Guide to California and all the other state and city guides, it was created for the Federal Writers Project by scores of previously unemployed writers, editors, and oral historians. It's got delightfully written essays about every aspect of our county and road trips from Santa Monica to San Bernardino. And, like all great literature, at least once in a while, it's funny. Today, the guide is looking its age. So is Hollenbeck Park, close to Libros, which appears in 1941's WPA Guide. So our program teacher, Tom Likas, and the Libros staff took a bunch of our summer fellows there and turned them loose to write a new page in LA history.
So what I want you to do is find at least 2 other people to go with, and notebooks out, see what you see. There's a difference between looking and seeing. So tell me what you see. See in a bit. So in 1941, the WPA created a guide to Los Angeles, and in that guide were 5 paragraphs on Boyle Heights. One paragraph of 2 or 3 sentences was about this park. So the question for students is, what's changed, what stayed the same, and really, what do they see? They will be rewriting the WPA paragraphs. So what do we want to have said about Boyle Heights? What would it be to write a guide for the rest of the people in the city, the rest of the people in the country? What is that going to look like?
Our summer program fellows have returned from Hollenbeck Park and are brainstorming their rewrite of the WPA Guide to LA. With notebooks full of observations, the students now face the hard part. Just like the original authors of the LA Guide, they have to distill a whole lot of stories and information into a few sentences of deathless prose.
If we were to revise the WPA Guide to Los Angeles, we'd want to pay particular attention to Boyle Heights because it deserves more than 5 paragraphs. You read this yourselves and you said, well, no, this isn't enough. There's a lot more we would say. So this is what I'm going to ask you to do. I'd like you to make a stab at revising it, at rewriting it. I want you to write as much as you can, and I don't want you to think too hard through this. Go. So this is not a classroom in which there are any grades. This kind of program does something very different. It emphasizes students' observational powers and their analytical powers. There are a lot of corners of Los Angeles, but there are a lot of corners of the United States that simply don't get a great deal of attention. And that's something that WPA tried to address with a great deal of success. It's like creating a mirror through which the country can see itself, and I think that mirror would be of such benefit right now. All right, who would like to read this?
I put an unleveled park with many parts to explore.
An unleveled park. That's really interesting. Next.
What may be perceived as a dirty park is someone else's treasure.
Okay, that's really good.
I put LA changes from Spanish to English, sometimes mixing due to generations changing, language conformity becoming a familiar feeling to both.
Where quinceañeras happen every other day, memories are made every second, and where history will remain forever.
Okay, you guys did fabulous work. Places like Libros provide some of that public space and community building that, government is not often doing as well as it used to. I think this is an example of the kind of thing that the city and the country could be doing a great deal more of. If you don't have an art that is local and intimate to the lives of the people who it serves, I think things fall apart.